Wild hogs are a serious problem where I live. Every harvest season, they show up and tear through our fields, leaving behind destruction and hardship. My family, like many of our neighbors, lost everything in just a few nights. Traps aren't enough. Complaints don't help. We had to act. So a few friends and I geared up, loaded the truck, and hit the road, hoping our presence alone would be enough to drive them off our land. The hunt had begun. Wild hogs often come down from the high mountains where food is scarce, seeking out the fertile farmland below. For them, it's paradise, sweet corn, potatoes, and fresh grass, all within reach. We hunters know exactly what kind of threat we're dealing with. Whenever we get the chance, we head out, not for sport, but to protect our community. At this point, it's the only option we've got. Quiet country roads make the perfect cover for wild hogs to roam unnoticed. I pulled over near the tree line, picked a clear vantage point, and waited. Just minutes later, a dark blur shot out from the brush across the road. It was a full-grown hog running for its life. But it was too late. I lined up quickly and pulled the trigger. One shot. That's all it took. The hog collapsed before it even had a chance to react. As I approached, I could see just how big it was, thick bristles, solid muscle. Easily 100 pounds or more. A trophy worth the effort.
Nitro! 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 Oh, dur.
Right after that, I spotted another one, hugging the edge of the road, sprinting with incredible speed. I didn't hesitate. I gunned it and followed, keeping just enough distance to avoid spooking it. I fired a few rounds when the angle opened up, but the hog darted through the brush like a shadow, impossible to pin down. It wasn't until it tried to cross the road ahead that I finally had a clear shot. I took a breath, steadied my rifle, and squeezed the trigger. The final shot hit. The hog stumbled, then dropped after just a few steps, ending a chase that had my pulse pounding.
On numara 5 yıldız.
Across the ridge, a whole herd of wild hogs scattered in panic, triggering a chaotic chase from our pack of hunting dogs. Their barking echoed through the mountains, pushing the hogs into a corner, step by step. I held my position, eyes locked on the movement ahead. One big hog broke from the group, charging down the slope. As soon as it entered the kill zone, a few of us opened fire. The first shot didn't hit a vital spot. The hog kept going, plowing through dust and loose rocks across the hillside. We moved fast, scrambling to higher ground for a better angle. Finally, when it emerged near the roadside, I didn't hesitate, squeezed off several rounds. The hog collapsed under the barrage, its dark gray coat matted with dust. A tough target, but we got it.
Dobra, dobra. Neka. Neće, ne može. Ne može.
We followed tracks around a cluster of large rock. My hunting dogs barked non-stop. They had picked up something. As I moved in, I spotted a hog cornered in a narrow gap between the stones. No escape. I didn't give it a chance to strike. One clean shot, and it dropped on the spot. By the end of the day, we were all worn out. But the results? More than worth it. A solid hunt through and through.
Bravo! Bravo!
As much as we wanted to keep going, we knew it was time to head home. The sun dipped behind the mountains, and every breath felt heavier after a full day of pursuit. This hunt might be over for now, but the fight against wild hogs is far from done. I glanced at my buddy, shirt soaked with sweat, eyes locked with quiet resolve. No words were needed. I knew we'd be back. 4 farmers and hunters across America. Protecting crops isn't just work, it's a mission. In states like Texas, Georgia, and Florida, the law allows year-round hog hunting with no bag limits, as long as it's on private land. That gives us the ability to control this invasive threat and help preserve the balance of nature. We don't want this to be a never-ending battle. What we hope for is a day when people and wildlife can coexist, without the sound of gunfire. Thanks for joining us on today's hunt. We hope this video gave you a real look into life out here, and maybe a moment to breathe with us under the open sky. Got questions or thoughts? Drop a comment below, we'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. We'll see you in the next one. In 2024 alone, more than 1.5 million incidents of crop destruction across the southern United States were blamed on wild hog. They've torn through farmland, ruined harvests, and even become a danger to people. Some have launched nighttime attacks, leaving locals seriously injured. That's why, on nights like this, when there's no moon to light our path, we still head out, ready to confront the beasts with razor-sharp tusks. Nightfall is when wild hogs are at their most active, the perfect time for a hunt. Out on an open field, the moonlight is swallowed by thick, drifting clouds. With food growing scarce around their den, the hogs are forced to stray farther from their safe zone. Last night, this field was torn apart by their rampage, and tonight, the beasts return, sniffing for the last scattered kernels of corn. But what they don't know is that someone's already waiting for them. Through the rifle scope, every movement is crystal clear, like daylight in the dark. As the sun disappears and night tightens its grip, that's when hunters like us get to work. The moment I got the signal, I pulled the trigger. One hog down, then two, then three. The rest of the herd scattered in chaos, but tonight there was nowhere to run. Gunfire echoed across the empty field. Wild hogs dropped one by one. We moved on to the second field. The terrain here was trickier, thicker brush, overhanging branches that made visibility harder. I adjusted my scope carefully. It was hard to control the angle. This time, the hogs reacted faster, way faster, almost like they had learned how to dodge. Based on their instincts, I knew exactly what they'd do next. Sure enough, they huddled up under a dense thicket, thinking they were safe. But that uneasy feeling had already crept in. They stood frozen, ears twitching, sensing something was off. That was my moment. I took aim, right at the one in the middle.
Right here.
Ready? 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
We moved on to a new field, fresh wild hog tracks stamped deep into the soil. We scanned the area for a while, but nothing showed up. So we pressed deeper, pushing through the thick brush, slipping between rocks, making our way into a more remote patch of land. Finally, our persistence paid off. Target in sight. I took the first shot, missed. In an instant, the entire herd sensed us. They bolted into the brush like a tornado, vanishing into the chaos. I pulled the trigger again, another miss. My hands started to tremble, not from fear, but from the gut-wrenching realization that I had just blown a golden opportunity. I signaled the others to stop. No more rushing in blindly. This time, the beasts had changed the rules. They were defending, they were hiding, and maybe, just maybe, they were hunting us back. Off in the distance, beneath the final shroud of night, we spotted them, a herd of wild hogs, quietly making their way back to their den after a full night tearing up local farmland. They moved slowly, cautiously, like they could feel the danger lurking in every shadow. This time, we didn't go charging in. We changed the game. Instead of chasing, we split into two teams and set up an ambush, quietly positioning ourselves along their familiar escape route. Just as we predicted, when the pressure hit, they panicked and ran straight into the trap. I held my breath, waited for the perfect moment. One clean shot, direct hit. The hog dropped instantly. Then came the thunder, shot after shot ripping through the night air. One by one, they fell.
Whoa! Woo!
Strange sounds echoed from the distance, the heavy, growing breath of something closing in. My teammate turned just in time. One of the hogs hadn't run. It was coming back, charging straight toward us. But before it could strike, one shot. Straight between the eyes. The beast collapsed, twitching in the dirt. That's the price you pay. When you challenge the wrong end of my barrel,